Is being recorded for future use. In this presentation, we will be going over Schedule 7153O. I'm going to share my screen. Here is the Schedule 7153O, supporting detailed classes other than 250s and 290 by program. You have here the department name, the department number, program name, program number, fund number. Minor class codes or other class codes outside of 250 to 254 and 257 to 259 and 290s. The difference with this form compared to Schedule 7153N, you will be picking up any activity regardless of fiscal 21 actuals, adopted, estimated obligations of 22, and departmental request or proposed request for fiscal 23 of $50,000 or more. Please note that if you have activity or expenditures for fiscal 21 actual obligations, you must have a valid vendor. My suggestion is that your department keeps a fiscal year record of all vendors by class to make developing this information much easier for your department during budget season. We're going to go to the department's 7153K schedule. And here you have class codes other than 250 to 254 and 257 to 259 and 290s that have activity of $50,000 or more regardless of year. Starting with class code 210 postage, the department would pick up this entire line and report it on the Schedule 7153O. Identifying the contractor, vendor, or provider. In this case, it's U.S. Postal Service. Again, no activity for fiscal 21 actuals, but they have budgeted for fiscal 22 original or adopted budget of $200,000. Fiscal 22 estimated obligations due to target and or mid-year ordinance changes of $200,000, and the department's fiscal 23 request of $250,000, and the scope of service being postage. We're going to go back to Schedule 7153N, and we're going to come down to 255, which is dues. They have actual activity of $22,665. They have $30,000 budgeted and adopted for 22. Estimated obligations for fiscal 22 due to target and or mid-year ordinance changes of $30,000. And they have their departmental request of $50,000 for fiscal 23. So we're going to go back to Schedule 7153O, and that line should be reported here. Again, if you have actuals for fiscal 21, you should have a valid vendor and scope of service. There should be no to be determined on any of these lines except for fiscal 22 original appropriations, estimated obligations, and fiscal 23 departmental requests. You must have a vendor if there was activity and actuals for fiscal 21. Again, we will be rounding up, there will be no cents. I'm going to go back to Schedule 7153K and come down to the next line that has $50,000 or more. And I'm going to go use class code 256, seminar and training sessions, and report that information on to the 7153O schedule. Noting who the vendor and provider was, the amount of the actual of $37,848, the adopted amount for 22 of $15,000, the estimated obligations, again, as a result of target budget and or mid-year ordinance changes of $15,000, and the department's fiscal 23 request of $75,000, and the scope and or reason for service. Moving back to the 7153 L schedule in this case, because there's no other line items that are $50,000 or more. So we're going to go to 7153 L, and we are going to follow the same process. We're going to pick up line items with $50,000 or more regardless of year. In this instance, they have class 304 books and other publications. So we're going to go back to schedule 7153O, and we're going to report class 304, the contractor, vendor, or provider of service, the actual amount for 21, the budgeted amount or adopted amount of $38,000 for 22, the fiscal 22 estimated obligations due to target budget and or mid-year ordinance changes of $38,000, and the fiscal 23 departmental request of $38,000, and the scope or reason for use of this provider. We're going to go back to the 7153L schedule, and we're going to come down, and we're going to pick up class code 325 printing. We're going to go back to the 7153O schedule, and we're going to report class 325, the name of the vendor. There was no activity as of fiscal 21 under this program, so that should be left blank. We are picking up the adopted amount of $246,100 for fiscal 22. Estimated obligations for fiscal 22 as a result of target budget and or mid-year ordinance changes of $246,100, and the department's fiscal 23 departmental request of, again, $246,100 in the scope of service, which is printing. That is it for this particular program. You will repeat the process for all other programs within your department that have activity of $50,000 or more. Keeping in mind, if you have actuals, you should not have to be determined as a name or for a contractor and or vendor. There must be a valid vendor for all line items that have actual cost. In this instance, this program has no class 400 activity, and the department has no Schedule M in this particular program, so there would be no class 500, 700, 800, or 900 line items to report. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If your department has any questions concerning this presentation, you should reach out to your budget analyst, or you can reach out to myself, Dan Harar, or Andrew Camilla for further assistance. I hope this presentation was useful in your preparation for the upcoming budget call season.